Welcome. I'm Reverend Montclair, and this is Monday Church with Reverend Montclair. Today is Mayday. Mayday has a long and ancient history. It is known as Beltane in the Celtic calendar, in Gaelic societies, where it is essentially the beginning of summer. It's when the cattle are sent out to pasture, to the summer pastures. It is celebrated with fires, with bonfires, I should say, and with dancing and weaving ribbons around a maypole. So the two ribbons, I understand, are representing the masculine and the feminine and weaving them together. And it is a day of great celebration. Also, May Day is a day in the United States where laborers are celebrated, are honored since 1886, when there was a turn of society to have limits on the hours of a day that people are to be working. The limit was put as an 8-hour day. Obviously, over the centuries, this has changed and evolved. However, that is the norm that was set forth to have people that work for a living rather than the people that happen to own money and pay as little as possible to those that work for a living. So it is a way for them to also have a life, not just work, and to have more of a work and life balance, to have more time for family and friends and enjoying life. May Day here in the United States in 2026 is a day of protest, a day to not consume from the big box stores owned by billionaires, to not purchase anything, to let the billionaires know that we are not happy with their moving ahead with replacing workers with automation, with robots, with AI, with profit over people, with selfishness over sharing, with destroying the earth as opposed to protecting it. So this is also part of the No Kings protests here in the United States. And although I bought gas today so I wouldn't get stranded, I did not go to the Home Depot as I had intended to buy some things that I needed. Anyway, May Day is also the phrase that is used in the maritime community for distress. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Here in the United States, we are in a state of distress. Some communities more than others, and some people within those communities more than others. It is amazing to me how some can still support an oppressive regime, yet and be part of an oppressed community, yet still seek favor from it, from this regime, still because they have money to ask for favor, to support the oppression of others like them, but they want exception from it. So this is what is being brought to light in this age of Aquarius, as the hippies and the astrologers spoke of back in the early 60s or mid 60s. The age of Aquarius is supposed to be a time where there is a turning away from the corporate greed, away from the abuse of people and the earth, a turning back to nature, a turning back to human kindness and compassion and away from the egregious acts and selfishness and rape mentality that has become more and more apparent. It is a time, the age of Aquarius, for revealing all that has been in place, only hidden. All that has happened, only it was hidden, except for those that were victims of it. So here we are on Mayday, and again, the signal of distress in the maritime world internationally is Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And it is a call for help. It is a call for compassion. It is a call for other humans in a better place to help those in a place in their lives because of external circumstances where they are more vulnerable. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. It is a call for action. It is a call with a time is of the essence request. Just like all of those who have been imprisoned, detained, kidnapped, and oppressed, we have a limited time to act to preserve not only citizens' rights, but human rights and the environment of which we all depend on. So while the tech billionaires and those that own AI are creating havens for themselves in New Zealand and other islands around the country and the world, large havens of safe places for them because they know that their policies are cruel and will incite rage and war against them and their policies. When I say war, I mean more of like a civil war, a riot of reaction. And it seems to me these tech billionaires and those in our government that are aligned with them have a very pessimistic view of our world and of humanity itself. It's as if they believe that there isn't enough for everyone and that they certainly intend to be the ones that are on top, surviving, while others will not. They think they can have it all and choose themselves over all other life and choose themselves over being compassionate beings, choose themselves over being loving. They think that they're going to be fine. They're going to try. They're going to give themselves so much and take from others so much that they create an insular world where everything is private, where they've thought of their every need and desire and thwarted every need and desire of all those that are not in their billionaire class. So it's as if we need to go back to the barter system and devalue their money by not respecting this imaginary valuation. Because if we didn't have money, what would we value? People's integrity, the quality of their contribution, the depth of their heart and knowledge and wisdom. Lies and made up excuses and just downright idiocy just wouldn't pass muster anymore. We have a lot to learn at this time. And one of the things is how to be our best, how to reveal to ourselves the hidden strengths and talents and determination that we may not have as of yet expressed, to make sure that we are pressing forward rather than giving up, to make sure that we have the kind of character that will carry us through this very difficult time, and to look out for those that are being oppressed, like in the recent Supreme Court ruling removing a guarantee for all people to vote and giving permission for redistricting to disempower people of color, to disempower those that fought and worked and deserve the right to vote. So, yes, the 1880s is the time that the sitting president has said he wants to go back to. Well, in the 1880s, there was a lot more going on than robber barons. And I think we need to recognize that it's not inevitable that we slip back despite these billionaire intentions. They weren't raised right. They were not raised right because they don't have a heart for community. They don't have compassion for people. They weren't raised right. They're damaged humans. And while I recognize that anyone that has been so damaged deserves some kind of compassion, but they do not deserve excuses, and they do not deserve a green light to keep on doing the damage that they inflict on others. So yeah, you can be compassionate and firm at the same time. You can be compassionate and still hold people accountable for their egregious cruelty. You can be compassionate and still not allow people that sole intent is to harm you back into your life. You can be compassionate and with others and still hold yourself in a place of compassion as well. So no, it's not just about giving grace to others. It's about being grace for all, and that means for yourself and for others. And grace is not always gentle. Grace is not always nice. Grace is speaking the truth. Grace is holding people accountable. Grace is seeing things as they are and saying what it is. Grace is speaking truth to power and being our best. So, on this Mayday, 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 ask for help if you need it. Ask your inner self what you need. Because sometimes, with all of the external distractions, we don't even know what it is we need. And if we do know what we need, sometimes we don't give it to ourselves anyway because we feel like we shouldn't have it, even if it's a moment of rest or a moment of play or a moment of connection, of intimacy, of reality, instead of distraction and um, habitual behaviors. Sometimes we need exercise and not to lay around in our normal, days end, distracted kind of behavior. Sometimes it means doing the thing you don't want to do. So, yes, give yourself some grace. Give yourself what you need. And when I say need, I don't mean feed your obsessions. No, we've seen enough of that with the Epstein class. No, what I mean is know where your needs originate. If you have a certain appetite, where does that come from? If you have certain aversions, where does that come from? If you have certain habits, where does that come from? As my friend and mentor Ellie used to say, source it. Look deeper. When I see how many men hate women and treat them despicably, I see our society and how that aspect of self that is gentle and kind and vulnerable and wanting connection has often not been respected in a man because it is counter to the warlike persona of a soldier. And that persona is designed by the state that wants to use the young men for their own purposes to enrich themselves. It's not about defense, as Hegseth made very clear. The Department of War, not defense. They just want to have war because it's fun. It makes them feel powerful. And because and because they're mad. Not angry mad, but just mad mad. They are drunk on their own delusions of power, of glory, of absurd, oppressive, cruel, inhuman actions. Because they don't know what love is. Because they're afraid of love. Because they're afraid of intimacy. Because they're afraid of women. Because they're afraid of men and their lack of acceptance by men, because they have father issues, because they have mommy issues. These men that try to make themselves powerful are indeed very weak inside. And they use their imaginary greatness to destroy rather than to heal, to disconnect rather than make connections, to egregiously enrich themselves because they don't give a damn about anybody. And you know what? Somewhere in there, they don't give a damn about themselves either. So here we are in a very severely broken world, which has been very clearly revealed. And sometimes just coping with that is enough. But while you're coping with the madness, make a connection with someone who may not be in as good a place as you under this oppressive regime, this rogue government. There are really heartfelt stories out there, and those heartfelt stories come from heartfelt actions, like the people in offices in Minnesota that go and purchase all of the food from a food truck so the people that are people of color can go home and be safer from the view of the hooded ones. So yeah, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I'm sure the fishermen that have been attacked by our government haphazardly didn't even have a chance to say Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. But that's where we are at on May 1st today. So when you send out a call for help, make sure you listen, not only to yourself, but to those around you. And if you can help, be a help. But if you can't, then receive help. Too often when we need something, when we need help, when we put out a call to the universe, to the divine, and then something comes back, we end up turning it away because it didn't come in the form we wanted it to, because it didn't come from the person we wanted it to. We have to learn to receive, and we have to learn to give, both from the heart. So give yourself some grace and give grace to others. I don't remember who it was that said, I think it was Rumi, who just said, we're just all walking each other home. So that's where we're at on May Day. And I think it would have been a lot more fun in a Celtic country, jumping over bonfires, weaving ribbons around poles, and frolicking in the firelight, dancing until dawn, than having to oppose an egregiously broken and corrupt rogue government. But there it is. So I wish you much love in your heart, much love in your expectations of what is to come, and much courage to be truly who you are at your core, and may you heal from within so that when you interact with the world, whether that be in reality or virtually, that you are acting from a place of compassion and kindness and honesty. So, happy Mayday. May you walk in beauty, with beauty before you, with beauty behind you, with beauty above, with beauty below, with beauty all around you. May you walk. May you sow seeds of love. May you bring your deepest and most powerful self into the world. And that is not an external power over, it is an internal, grounded power. Stand in your strength, stand in your beingness, stand in your integrity, stand in your beliefs, especially the beliefs around human dignity, the dignity of the planet, the dignity of life itself. Much love to you. Until next time, I am Reverend Montclair, and this is Monday Church with Reverend Montclair. Thanks for tuning in.